Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is voiceover Omar again. What you're seeing here is the odd jobs that I've had to do over the last, I guess, month or so. And I'm going to give you a heads up here. Unfortunately, I've lost a lot of footage. I've unfortunately put my SIM cards in the pocket of my wallet, and as you do, you put your wallet in your back pocket and you go out and you sit on your wallet, you drive with your wallet in your back pocket. And I didn't realize what was going on, but obviously what happened on a closer inspection, the little SIM cards, the little chip, the golden chip, they all got cracked and I'd lost a heap of footage. So you'll see a lot of stuff being done but not quite completed, or some changes in the box that I unfortunately cannot show you any footage. So it does seem a bit sort of disjointed, but at the end of the day you'll just notice how I progressed from one project to the other. The ones that I've lost the most are from the windows going in and the little side hatches underneath at the bottom. Unfortunately, all that was lost, and probably a lot more which I can't remember. But anyway, enjoy the video and I hope it's useful for someone.
So you'll see as I climb up here, the hole was cut from the inside when it was down there on the rack there. So now I'm going to have to use the jigsaw and just take out these very small bits here where the jigsaw obviously wandered a bit, just in the corners. I should do it. I'm just going to do that now. There. Climb up. Alright, so let's plug this in. Let's get it cut. Nice snug fit with a little give. So, I'm just going to take my tape, plenty of mastic to go around. Should check it for squareness. We should be good there. Could do with a bit more in here. I think we should be alright. Looks like a good job. Alright, so I'm going to sand down up to the tape. I'm removing the tape that was protecting the rest of the gel coat from the sequence, and what I then do is just go past the lip of the original tape, put some more tape on, and that will be the one that gets removed after the adhesive has been thrown. So what I'm going to do now, just take you down below. And looks like we have no. And what I'm going to do now is get the butyl tape and put a rim around there, and then mask, and then adhesive on the outside. Here's the old tape. And sealant adhesive. I'm going to put it quite thick to level up this one, and hopefully that's it. We drop it in this scene.
Voiceover Omar again. So these are the panels that are going to be the internal panels for the kitchen and some of the uprights around the kitchen. They've been hung on my sort of painting hanging frame, ready for spray painting, and they're going to be going into the box later.
Alright, so back to the panels. That thing is set, that was on there, wherever it's gone. Clean them all up. Clean them with alcohol, taking all the tape off that I need to take. So now I'm going to put the glue in and start assembling it. So I'm going to start with the floor ones. I'm going to use the HB Fuller because it's more flexible and it's cheaper. And then I'm going to use the Sikaflex for the top panel, so it's much stronger. So I'm going to put you guys here. So we'll start with this one. Here's the one panel with all the shells already glued and sprayed in. So he's going to go this way. Alright, so that's what it looks like in there. And let's stick the next one in, which happens to be this fella. Make sure it goes with this one, so we can choose the nicer surface on the inside. Let's see if we can avoid sliding too much. I won't just try and push it out a bit. Lost quite a lot of glue there, but that's from the sliding, unfortunately. Clean that up before it sets. Well, might just leave that one there and cut them out later, so it doesn't cause a mess. Not that you'll ever see it again because it's under the floor. Right, let's get another tube and do the rest of it. Standing on them to make sure that all the air pockets are coming out. You hear them popping. So I'm going to turn you off for now because it's this is the bit where it takes a bit of time. It's not very exciting, so I'm just filling the gaps, making sure everything's level. The good thing about this fuller adhesive is it's a lot more forgiving. You can still move it around for quite a bit afterwards. Whereas the Sikaflex, especially with the primer, once it goes off, you're pretty much done. So you don't want to make a mistake. So I'm just going to clean up, call the inside, because I won't be able to get to it again, or not easily anyway. And then I'll put the top down, and I'll show you when I put the top down. I'll put the black primer on the panel and on the angle, and now I've put Sikaflex, 2 beads, quite thin ones, all the way on there, where the black is, and then normal, not say normal, but different toolbox adhesive on the coral flute stuff, because it just sits there for a bit longer. Anyway, I'm going to stick the panel in. Cross fingers everything fits still because of the thickness of the glue, but we'll see. Get some of those water, 20-litre water jugs, and put them on top, and then I'm going to call it lunch. I think it's about where I want it, and my trim sort of still fits, which is good. That's a good sign. Alright, so with the extrusion, this is how I do it. So this is the right hand side one. That's the aircon fabrication slot, and that's the other one there. So what I'm going to do now is I mark the edges that I'm going to glue together or weld together, and I try and put a 45-degree bevel only on the outside. Don't want to touch the inside because I want to keep it flat as possible. I'll do that to both of these, and I'll show you how I've done that. It doesn't take too long, so I just literally mark it so just enough width, so I'm looking for about 3mm max, something like that. Oops. And it's just so that I don't go past that and I can still see the line. So that's that one. And this one here, same scenario, on the edge that I want to weld to. So that's it. So I started off on the machine. Alright, so that's them beveled. Next thing is to match them up and just give them a quick clean with a file. Alright, so just going to clean the edges off a little bit, and then we're going to camera here somewhere. Just going to give it a quick, so let's make sure it's still flat. Nothing too much, just so it looks like that. So if you look carefully, I don't know if you can see that, but you'll see the bevel. That one I've gone a bit too far maybe, all the way around. And that's so that they can fill with weld, and then I can knock it back flat. If you don't do this, there's no meat left in the alley to flatten it back off. So same with this one. Gone a bit too far with this one. You don't want it too thin because you don't want it to melt through. So there we go. That one too. Not sure if you can see that. Anyway, so then what I do is I use the other scrap that I've got from all the cuts, which is this one, and I've cleaned them all off so there's no undulation, no glue, nothing like that, because I was using for filling the walls in on the other bit. There's a bit of something there, so I might just knock him back a little bit. And I'm looking for a very flat surface. So here's the left hand side, and this is the right hand side on here. And the idea is bring them together and get them exactly the same. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So there seems to be a little bit of play in this one, so I'm not sure what's happened here, but I'll clamp him up and get them as straight as possible. So this takes some time and it's fiddly, and you've got to get it right, because if you don't, it's not going to fit at the top. Tiny bit maybe, but you can't even afford a couple of mil either side, because the glue is not going to grab it that much. And you know, if anything, you want it slightly bowed high at the center, but even that is not a good thing. So I've got it where I think it's I'm reasonably happy with it. So you can see this little V groove going on there, and it goes all the way around to the other side as well. I'm clamping it now with these clamps, and I had to do some little fettling here to get these to butt up and make it tight. It has to be spot on, otherwise it can be a pain when you're going to stick it on the box. So now I'm going to butt this one up tight as I can, and get really close to it like this, especially at the beginning. I just want to tack it and then put this one on the other side. This is when it gets messy. So, put this one on there. Check it one more time. So I'm just going to check it. So that's how it sits now. I'm just going to put a clamp here and there and there. So where this one is supporting the whole thing, we've got it as tight as we can. And I'm going to, like I said, put a little weld on each one. I'll do the edges first and the top and tack it, and then we'll fully weld it. So that's what I'm going to do now, is just put the clamps on the rest of it, the small ones. Before I do that, I get my little trusty hammer and mallet, make sure they're buttoned up tight. Alright, so now I'm just going to wire it down with a wire brush that I only use for stainless or alley. My glasses. And you'll see it roughing up and getting rid of that oxidization. So you can see how it's roughed up compared to the other stuff. So that's ready, and then good old wipe down with the old acetone, and then I do the same with the alley rod that I use. So good clean and in the groove. And also just give my wire a clean. I've got this gizmo that I use because I'm not good at feeding the wire still. So I use this little gadget that I got from the welding shop in my hands. Alright, so as far as I can see, we're good to go. I have to put my other glasses on because I can't see detail anymore with my other glasses. So here we go. I have a technical problem. For some reason my machine doesn't want to recognize my pedal today, so I'm just going to sign off for a second until I can sort this out. So I've moved the clamps back a bit, try to get this level, but I don't like welding uphill or downhill TIG alley. I haven't got those sort of skills yet. So let's try this again, see why it didn't work the first time. Corners, eh? Pin the butt. Alright. Around. the rod a quick wipe. Ah, bugger. Try not to bend it. We're back at the shed, so I spent a bit of time doing the panels in the truck, so I'll show you that in a bit. But anyway, and the camera ran out of SIM card, so I had to unload that and blah 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 blah. Anyway, so here's my not very good TIG weld, but it'll do. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand it down. I'm going to grind it down with an angle grinder to get a reasonably close finish, and then I'm going to sand it back with a normal sander. Another day on the truck. So what I'm doing now is cutting the rearmost cover angle, aluminium angle. These are the intricacies of the cuts that I have to do to get around that tie-in that I've got at the top. Here's the other side. This one's already been cut. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get it up there. So I'm just about to cut these two bits with the angle grinder. Quick fire. Damage anything up there, not that it should. Alright, let's try it on the truck. So this is the last one that I need to shape. They all had their own little intricacies. Actually the longest ones were the easiest. So let's get you up on the ladder. Get my other glasses on so you can see. There you go. Looks like a good fit. That fits in there. Just misses the well there. Trim out some of that Sikaflex. That fits in there and that fits there. It's pretty much the job done. Check the other side. I think it looks good. You can see the 5 meter length there. And the one that I welded the other day is over there. There's the other 5 meter one. And then I'm just going to check this joint over here. Back down the ladder. This looks good under here too. Nice bit of clearance. And it hides the join of the composite panel. Slide up to this side. And the same scenario here. So it fits nice there. Fits nice there. Just got to clean out some of that. It's a nice tight fit without being too tight. Yeah, there's a little bit of play in it, which is perfect. By the time the glue is on there, it'll be perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand it back like this one and get a key ready for spray painting. And that's how you do it. So let's get down, get that ready for spray painting. Again, screws the camera angles. Fortunately, it's awkward carrying something and filming and walking down ladders. Here's my little painting area. Right, this is where I'm going to sand it. So it's not particularly exciting, so back to you later. Good morning, another beautiful day. So yesterday you've seen on time lapse me doing those. So they're reasonable, it's just such an awkward height. There's a couple of runs here and there. And this is the piece that I told you, I meant to film it but I ran out of SIM card and I had to download it, blah blah blah. But you'll see, this is the one that I had to join. And the only telltale sign is this tiny little nick there. I don't even know if you can see that. And yeah, even on the inside, you can see there's the join. Obviously not welded there, but it's seamless, absolutely seamless on this side. So yeah, so this is the front piece. So considering yesterday was windy, you can see a couple of runs there. I'll sand it back now, and then I'm going to put, not sure what happened here, that still feels a bit tacky. It's almost like there was something on the alley. I don't know how many times I've cleaned it. This is pretty bad there, just really awkward angles. So what I've learnt from this, nice scratch there, is to yeah, this is too high. The only reason I did it is that so I can do the bottom and the top all in one hit to save a day, because every day, every layer is a day, because you need about 8 hours for it to cure, enough to put the second layer on or the next coat. So yeah, it's a bit rushed, but I'm on a deadline. I've only got about a week left and I've got to get that, the truck, sorted. I've got a couple of big holes to drill in the deck mechanism bracket thing, and yeah, so today I'm going to not flatten these back. I'm going to drop them back down on those trestle tables and spray downwards, and I'm only going to do one layer at a time this time. So I'm going to do the insides today with the top coat, all being well, and then the tops of them, as in this side, tomorrow, because I want the finish to look reasonably good, being it's trimming the whole box. So that's today, and if you look carefully, I've managed to put the brackets on made them rather, ready to weld the steel. So these brackets here temporarily on, one on each corner. The bolts are a bit long, but there's a reason behind that. So here's that. I'll climb a bit more, and then there's another one in the opposite down there, and one in each corner. There's one over there. You can see that there somewhere. And I'll be welding that steel down there. The long ones, they're 5 meters, just over, and they'll be welded from here to the other side, and that will clamp on top of the aluminium. So that's to tie in the 2 bows to make sure they don't move at all. Plus it's going to be a handy platform to put like roof rack type tie down things, something solid, and I will eventually link them from like east west as well as north south. All right, so that's today's project. And while I'm doing that, I've got 60 litres of double cleaned veggie oil. So my system is I drop it in that drum, gravity feed down to the centrifuge. The centrifuge then cleans it, drops into one of these. I pick up one of these when it's full, bring it over here, and then I use the 12-volt pump with my little battery to transfer it from that through this filter. So it's a double filter there of, I think they're 1 micron, maybe a bit more, maybe 3 and 5 and 3 or 5 and 1, I can't remember. Should write these down, shouldn't I? And then it transfers it into a fresh drum, and then that hopefully is filtered enough to be able to use in the tank. So that's what I'm doing today. Excuse my coughing. I'm sure it's all these solvents are not doing me any good. So here we go.
So I hired one of these magna drills, as they call them, so they got a magnetic base. I wished I'd hired this a long time ago, or even bought one. They're not cheap to hire. You've got to hire the bits as well. So I've got an M16 bit on the edge of this, on the end of this one, and I'm basically drilling through the plate that holds the tailgate straight through the chassis. It's easy going through the tailgate plate, but once it hits that chassis, which is a hardened steel, I wouldn't say it struggles, it makes it look really easy. It is easy, but you can tell the difference, let's put it that way. Anyway, I hired the special lubricant as well, and it made easy work of this. It was very bulky to maneuver, being given that all the pipes are in the way and the original bolts are there. Those top 3 holes that you see are basically superfluous because the truck they came on, it was lower than that. And I couldn't use them, so I had to re-drill those 3 a bit lower down. You also have to take into account the Isuzu chassis modification manual, so you've got to make sure you don't drill holes too close to the curves of the chassis or various components within the chassis. There are rules and regulations to make sure that you don't probably make the chassis any weaker by drilling holes. So make sure if you do this you read the manuals.
just a quick update. I'm really rushing now because I'm trying to hit this deadline. But here's the tie bracket that I'm making that goes on the top of the whole box and ties the front to the back. So both bows are tied in at the top. And that's the bracket I've just tacked on. So what I'm doing, it's basically light gauge, 1.6 mil, 75 by 25 SHS. At the end of the day, it's only for tension purposes, but I will put a rail on top here, 50 mil high, with holes in them or cutouts so they can act as tie downs. There's also protection for the max air fan and all the other bits and pieces like solar panels and things like that are going to go on top. So what I'm about to do now is I'm just going to fit this on there so it's flush with this. I'm going to grind that out. That's going to be the end plate, and there's going to be a shorter version like this one going on the front, and you'll see why when I mount them. So they sit somewhere like so. Alright, I'm just going to get on with it because I've only got 3 and a bit days left before I have to get that box on the truck and leave for Exmouth. Yes, I know. So I've tacked that in. I've had to use this because I wasn't happy with how square it was going to come in. So it's tacked in, and now I'm going to go and offer it up to the truck box to see how it goes. That one I didn't do the same with it, so I'm going to see what it looks like. It's only tacked, so I can always cut them off. But anyway, let's move on. Yeah, it looks like the top part looks the same. This part's the same, I think. I'm just filming. Just filming you attaching it on, because that will be a quick cut into that. Alright, that will do for that one. Just give it a little tension, see what it looks like. Oh, yours hasn't got the bar at the back, is it, for the weights? No. Right. Is it moving at all? Keep going.
Just taking the slack out. Like that.
Alright.
Voice Omar is back. So what you're watching here is the marriage of the box to the truck, and earlier on I mentioned my Happy Jacks. I purchased those because I was going to initially have a slide on slide off system, but I got cold feet and decided that I'd rather have it fixed to the truck because it's such a large box, and I wasn't sure how well these Happy Jacks from Alibaba would perform. As it happens, using them here alongside my jack that I built over a year ago to support the actual bottom of the whole frame, they worked unbelievably well. They were more than capable of lifting this box. At that point in time, I had no idea how heavy this box was going to be. As it turns out, after doing the weighing, so a bit of a spoiler alert, it's about 1.5 to 1.7 tons in total. That's how I've managed to calculate it as it stood there. So right here, what I'm doing is, with Mick, we're putting the trestle tables back under, the trestle frames underneath, so that we can support it to get my homemade jacks in the center of the box to add as an extra safety feature, if you like, because it's still at this stage I wasn't sure about the happy jacks. And bearing in mind the contraption that I built is only clamped onto the underside of the box that holds the happy jacks, so it was all very temporary. So I wanted to make sure that the whole thing was firm. We were constantly worried about the wind blowing it back and forth, but it seemed to keep it within reason. You can tell by the palm trees how windy it is. It's like this pretty much every day in the town that I live in. So the ramp is dropped down as low as possible, and I'm basically reversing with Mick's guidance and instructions to get the whole truck underneath. It's a very, very tense moment, because you obviously don't want to hit anything. You don't want to hit the jacks, the happy jacks. You don't want to hit my homemade jacks. You don't want to do anything that's going to knock the whole thing over. That would be an absolute disaster. So as you can see, we're inching closer and closer, doing the sort of final tiny bits of maneuvers to get everything in line. Bearing in mind how heavy this box is, although at the time, like I said, we didn't know how heavy it was, but we knew it was heavy. So a lot of it was very micro adjustments to get her to get to the point where she's as lined up as possible. Then what I'm going to do is then anchor the back end, which is the fixed point, and that's what you see me attempting to do at some point, but there's still a lot of adjustment to be had at this stage.